Good evening. I'll call this meeting of the Cartersville City Council to order. If you'll please stand for our invocation and pledge.
Normally I do a silent prayer, but tonight, first I'd like to say that in my community here in Cartersville, I've had at least 4 dear friends pass. And I want to call those names, and afterwards we'll do a silent prayer. Norman Johnson, who's a retiree from Lockheed, and I know most of my people are listening, that's why I'm calling his names out. William Robertson, City Manager remembers that name. He's familiar with all of us down here, and the other 2 are from Paulding County. But at this time, we just do a silent prayer for those people whom I hope are in a better place than we are. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Lindsay. Will you join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Keeling, the roll, please.
Carrie Hodge, Ward 1. Here. Jay Stepp, Ward 2.
Here.
Louis Tonsmeyer, Ward 3.
Here.
Lindsay McDaniel, Ward 4.
Here.
Diane Tate, Ward 5.
Here.
Roy Pruitt, Ward 6.
Thank you, Connie. You have the floor.
Mayor, I have the pleasure tonight of swearing in you, Diane Tate, Louis Tonsmeyer, and Carrie Hodge as the newly elected officials for the city of Cartersville. So, you will stand later. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Matthew J. Santini,
I, Matthew J. Santini,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will
support
support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Georgia,
and of the state of Georgia,
that I will in all respects observe the provisions of the Charter
that I will in all respects observe the provisions of the Charter
and ordinances
and ordinances
of the city of
of the
Cartersville,
city of Cartersville,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the mayor,
of the mayor,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, I'll have to
Ms.
remember.
Tate, Mr. Tonsmeyer,
Hard time
Mr.
remembering.
You'll all stand up, please. If you'll repeat after me. I, say your name,
I, Diane Tate,
solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of Georgia,
and the state of Georgia,
that I will in all respects
that I will in all respects
observe the provisions of the Charter
observe the provisions of the Charter
and of the city of Cartersville,
and of the city of Cartersville,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of city council,
of the city council.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Connie. Oh, with the exception of that long phrase you made me repeat, but that's fine. I'll work on that. That's what I did that right anyway. That's right. Our first order of business tonight is the approval of our council meeting minutes from our December 19th meeting. And council, you've had these well in advance of tonight. And so if there are any edits or additions or deletions, please note them now. If not, a motion would be in order.
Didn't see any corrections, additions, or deletions. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. We do have some appointments and other swearing-ins this evening. And the first one is the approval of counsel for our municipal court judge, Harry White, who has served in that capacity. Chair will entertain a motion on his continued tenure.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And that motion passes. And Connie, I'm going to go different from the work session. We're going to go ahead and do the same similar vote for Jay Choate, who's up as Assistant Municipal Court Judge, who again has served in that capacity with distinction and would like to continue that as well. Chair will entertain a motion on that.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. And now, Ms. Keeling, if you would please handle the swearing in of those two gentlemen.
Jane, you want to go first? Raise your right hand. I solemnly swear
I solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Georgia,
and of the state of Georgia,
that I will in all respects
that I will in all respects
observe the provisions of the Charter
observe the provisions of the Charter
and the ordinances of the city of Cartersville,
and the ordinance of the city of Cartersville,
that I will faithfully discharge the duties
that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Assistant Municipal Court Judge,
of the office of Assistant Municipal Court Judge,
and that I will truly,
and I will truly,
honestly,
honestly,
and faithfully
and faithfully
discharge the duties of this office
discharge the duties of this office
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
without fear,
without fear,
favor,
favor,
or partiality.
or partiality.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. You can just sign it. Okay. You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United
and of the
States
state of Georgia,
and of the state of Georgia,
that I will in all respects
and I will in all respects
observe the provisions
observe the
of
provisions
the Charter
of the Charter
and the ordinances
and the ordinances
of the city of
of the
Cartersville,
city of Cartersville,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office
of the office
of Municipal Court Judge,
of the municipal court judge,
and that I will truly,
and I will truly,
honestly,
honestly,
and faithfully
and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of this office
of this office
to the best of my
to
ability,
the best of my ability,
without fear,
without fear,
favor,
favor,
or partiality.
or partiality.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you both for your continued service to the city.
And thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Sam, you've got the next item.
Sure, this is the Development Authority of Cartersville. This is reappointment of Tommy Strickland and Walter Mahone. Mr. Tilley has indicated he does not want to be reappointed, so the recommendation there is Sonny Miller for that third position. The terms through January 6th of 2018.
All right, if there's any discussion, now's the time to have it. If not, a motion would be in order.
Motion to reappoint Tommy Strickland and Walt Mahone, and to appoint Sonny Miller.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Gordy, you've got the next item. We've got some members of the Recreation Advisory Board that are up for reappointment as well.
The Cartersville Parks and Rec Department would like to nominate or recommend the advisory board members appointed by Councilmember Kerry Hodge, also appointed by Councilmember Louis Tunsmeyer, appointed by Councilmember Diane Tate and Mayor Santani. Brian Thomas, Kathy Hayes, Tommy Hall, and Howard Smith. All mentioned board members are currently serving and have agreed to redo another 4-year term.
Okay. Any questions or discussion? If not, a motion would be in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Sam, you've got the next item.
Right. With the retirement of long-term water director Jim Stafford in the offing, the position has come open. Staff has completed internal interviews of several candidates. That's required us by state law to list the names of finalists, which we did over 14 days ago to comply with that. Under city code, I am to make a recommendation which council either approves or denies, but that's the way the process works. My recommendation tonight is going to be to replace Jim with Bob Jones. Bob has been the assistant director since 2010. He's been the distribution and collection system office manager from 2005 to 2010. He did special projects before that. Worked as a lab analyst in some quality control dating back to 1999. He's got a BS in Environmental Health Science, BBA in Accounting from the University of Georgia. Also got several certifications and licenses out of the state. I think he's a well-qualified individual, and that is my recommendation for you, and I would ask that you approve it, please.
Any discussion?
Mayor, just this comment, I think we're so lucky in the city that we have an opportunity to appoint from within our organization, and we've done that a number of times in a number of departments, and I hope that our citizens are noticing that we have a careful plan to be bringing people up, and it's just great to know that we can do that.
Well, council always discusses the subject of succession planning, and this is succession planning in practice to develop the capabilities in-house and the resources in-house to then move them into spots of responsibility as this one is.
Okay, any other discussion? And if there's none, a motion would be in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Bob?
Bob, would you like to, why don't you, come on, step up here.
I was hoping we would do that. I will be brief because I have got a little bit of a cold, so I won't take too much of your time. But obviously, Mr. Mayor, Council, Sam, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity. It's something I've been working on for quite a while. I do take the position very seriously, and I can assure you, you will get my best every day. And I look forward to a long and prosperous career here and to do right by the city, and hopefully we can work that as a partnership, and I look forward to it. I'm ready to go to work. Let's get started. Thank you.
Thank you. For our clerk, Bob, you know, I'm not done with you yet. Get back up here.
Okay.
I would like the name of your, I would like you to recognize your wife and
Oh,
son here
absolutely.
so that we get that in the record.
And you know, that was this is a big deal to my family too. That's why they're here. My wife Lana is here with my only son Owen, and they came to see what's happening to Dad tonight, and I'm glad to have them here. They're a big part of my support system, and they help me do what I do.
Just let me say too that our thoughts are with you with the passing of your father.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Mr. Menino, we have got a series of public hearings and whatnot. Why don't you start us off with SU 13-06?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you noted, this is a public hearing. This is actually a second reading for SU 1306. Since the first reading, there have been no additions or changes. This particular request was a use permit for a pawn shop located at 617 North Tennessee Street. I believe the location was formerly a florist shop, used appliance store. With that, the Planning Commission did recommend approval of this application with the condition that of no outside storage.
Okay. Any questions for Randy on this item?
This is the old Dennis building, isn't it?
No, this is across Tennessee Street from Porter Street,
The other side.
other side, yeah.
Oh, okay. Used to be a 7-Eleven, and then the flower shop.
Yep. Got a pointy roof. Something like that. All right. Any other questions for Randy? If there are none, I'll open up a public hearing relative to SU 13-06. Anybody wishing to step forward and speak for or against may do so at this time. And seeing none, I'll close the public hearing for SU 13-06, and council can have further discussion or can make a motion and we'll move forward.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Would that motion include the provision put forth by the Planning Commission?
Yes.
Thank you. Would that second that thought? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. And Randy, if you'll press on, please.
Thank you again. This too is also a second reading. There have been no additions or changes since the first reading. This is a text amendment. The proposed text amendment deals with the optional density bonus criteria that we've had in several of our residential zoning categories. The proposed text amendment looks to eliminate one of them, one that requires or doesn't require but allows a donation of land to allow for a density bonus. With that, our city attorney advised us there had been a Supreme Court ruling in the past year that we need to eliminate that requirement. And with that, we prepared this text amendment, and with that, Planning Commission did recommend approval.
Okay. Any questions for Randy on this item at this time?
Randy, may I have a question?
Go right ahead.
When they come in for an R20 zoning, and they're able to go from 20,000 square feet to 17,000, is that the time right then that they say they're going to do it on behalf of LEED certified or the exterior finish, or is it at a later time when you meet with them?
It's usually at a later time. We've had a few lots in Northtown that have come in and done that. It's at time of building permit. We'll verify that they're complying with certain criteria that was set forth in the ordinance. Again, the LEED certified, making sure it meets the criteria
But
for
when do you
that.
go from 20 to 17? I mean, when is that discussed?
They'll come in, discuss it with us. We'll make sure that they know what the criteria is, and if they meet that as part of a building permit, then it can be issued. It's still, the property still remains, you're using R20 as an example.
Mhm.
The property would still remain R20. But let's say if they were doing, 5 lots in R20 or a small subdivision of that nature, sometimes they could actually get an extra lot if they were doing and meeting the criteria of say, LEED certified or Earthcraft homes or other criteria that are listed in the ordinance.
So once they start developing the 4 or 5 houses or whatever, that's when they would come back and say, this is what we want.
Yes, if they do it in a subdivision manner, we'll hold each building permit to make sure that they comply with that criteria, then issue the building permit.
And there is one in Northtown like that. It's kind of a dead end, isn't it? Is that the one you're thinking of? They were allowed to do?
That one actually had a rezoning and they weren't an Earthcraft type subdivision. They were just conditioned to certain criteria per the zoning on that one. But there were some individual lots that were done in.
Individual that were LEED certified?
Yes, or they were Earthcraft.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Thank you, Randy. I'll open up a public hearing for file T13-05. Anybody wishing to step forward, speak for or against may do so at this time. And seeing none, you're not coming up to the mic, are you? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing on T13-05 and is now in council's hands for final consideration.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. We'll now take up Z13-08.
This is the last of the zoning cases, and this again is a second reading. As with the other 2 cases, there have been no additions or changes since the first reading. This is a request to actually change an existing 1998 condition of zoning on the property. With that, this will allow access to the back side of an existing development, Hillendale, as opposed to cutting through the middle of the actual portion of the property that's already been developed. Hopefully it'll be less obtrusive and obstructive to the existing property owners and homeowners in that particular development. And with that, Planning Commission did recommend approval of modifying that condition of zoning. And that condition was the use of River Drive for temporary construction vehicle access to complete the final phase in there. And again, the Planning Commission recommended approval with a 2-year extension on that, starting from the time of their first permit to expand.
Okay, would that need to be included in the motion?
Yeah, I would recommend that you include the Planning Commission's recommendation on this one also.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Randy?
I'd like to ask publicly what I asked you earlier, that is the residents on Alpine Drive who might be affected have been consulted.
Yes, as with all the cases, the adjacent property owners have been notified through mailings, and additionally at the Planning Commission there were a few residents at the meeting. They didn't choose to speak. I believe they were just listening in to see what the request was about.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, anything else for Randy? Thank you, sir. I'll open up a public hearing relative to case Z13-08. Anybody wishing to step forward and speak for or against may do so at this time. And seeing none, I'll close the public hearing relative to Z13-08, and now council will take it up for final consideration.
approval of this rezoning with the condition that deletion of condition number 2.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. We'll continue with the Menino Show.
And it worked tonight.
The next proposed amendment is also a second reading, no additions or changes since the first reading. What this is a change to the city's swimming pool and spa code. The current edition we are operating under is the 1997 edition. It was modified again in 2001. The State Department of Community Affairs goes through and goes back over all the codes every so many years, and they make modifications, and this time they have recommended the adoption of the International Swimming Pool and Spa Code. It adds some additional criteria. Like I said, it does add spas that weren't included in the additional swimming pool code, water parks, and other criteria. And again, this is recommended by the Department of Community Affairs.
Okay. Any questions for Randy?
I have a question. Mr. Menino, does the health department, how are they notified when we pass this, or does it affect the health department in that?
They have their own criteria. The health department relies on public pools. This is basically for the construction of new pools. So the health department not only looks at new pool construction, they look at ongoing public pool operation also.
But do they get this from DCA or us, or does it matter?
They would get that from, they're a state agency, so.
They get it from their own agency.
Correct. But we would actually permit construction in the city
Yeah, I
limits.
think that's apples and oranges. One's operation, the other one's construction.
Gotcha.
Okay. Any other questions? If there are none, Chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Continue on, Randy.
This last one, again, is a second reading. There have been no additions or changes since the first reading. It's a proposed amendment to the alcohol ordinance that will allow us to check ad valorem taxes, make sure they have been paid prior to the issuance of the alcohol license. This was at the request of the county. We will work with the city attorney's office to put together a procedure so we don't slow down issuance of license in this process. But with that, we do recommend approval of this particular ordinance.
Okay. Any questions, comments, or motions?
Question. In essence, this is saying that you got establishments that still on the book for back taxes?
Yeah, ad valorem taxes, we will, when the application comes into our office as part of the process, we will contact the county to check, to make sure they are up to date on those taxes.
So they're not up to date, and it's something to be closed. Right?
We cannot issue the license for new applications.
Okay. Motion for approval?
Second?
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
Mr. Porta.
Mayor, it's a resolution to amend the Cartersville pension plan to delete section 6.1 terminal pay. Back in 2011, prior to that, we had terminal pay booked as a compensated absence and paid for out of the regular payroll. Once an employee left the city, if they had weeks of vacation time, it was paid out of the regular payroll and booked as a liability. We came up, the actuary came up with a process that saved the city a little bit of money, but wasn't being done properly through the pension plan. The easiest way is just go back to where we book the compensated absences and make that change in the pension plan document. And that's what this resolution does. I recommend it for your approval.
Okay. Any discussion? If there's none, Chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Chief McCann.
Mayor and Council, this is a request to approve a MOU between the Cartersville Police Department, the Bartow County Sheriff's Office, and the Bartow Cartersville Drug Task Force with Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Basically, it formalizes an agreement that we've had with them for about a year. We provide office space for 2 agents. They assist us in operations, and it doesn't cost the city anything. We recommend approval.
Okay. Any discussion? And if there's none, Chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thanks, Chief. Tommy Sanders. Come on down.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I'm seeking approval to pay an invoice to Vorst Paving for work that was done at the CSX crossing on Industrial Park Road. We had an agreement with CSX if they would repair this crossing that we would pay for the asphalt. And the total is $9,024.75. There is one change from the work session. Dan made the recommendation that this does qualify as a road improvement, so he made the recommendation that we pay for it out of the 2003 SPLOST instead of out of the budget, which would come from the general fund. So to save some general fund money, I would like to request approval to pay this out of the 2003 SPLOST.
Anybody got a problem with that? All right, we could either, I guess we'll just take a motion then.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. I guess, did that need the provision, since on the agenda in our packet it said funds were coming from someplace, does it require
I understood her motion to approve to be what he suggested.
I did approve it coming out of
Okay.
SPLOST funds.
Very good, thank you,
Thanks.
thank you.
And I didn't
Tommy?
say that, Mayor, but yeah.
That's why I didn't know what you said. Come on, Don, get us out of this mess.
Okay. Roll Tide plays in a short while, I come to you tonight. We've got an estimate, an additional quote to rebuild our line truck. You guys approved the estimate to rebuild our line truck in November, and at that time, it's a best guess estimate without breaking the truck, taking the truck apart. And once the truck got in the shop, they found some additional work that needed to be done. And that additional work is $5,596.01. And it's not uncommon to get an update on a quote. And we anticipated that, and we budgeted for that. And even with the original quote and the additional quote, we're under budget. And the electrical department is recommending that you approve that you authorize and approve the additional work for $5,596.01.
Okay. Questions, comments, or motions?
Make a motion that we pay based upon the original budget and all other costs being less than the budget price.
I second that.
Okay, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Don. Any other business that needs to come before council this evening? If there are none, Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We're adjourned.
It is nothing, man. There's nothing required.